Okay, so let's check out these sounds here. So we have a designed and we have a source folder. And these are like tons of sounds here. And when you go through these sounds, and you probably think like, it's just like, 117 sounds. Let me just show you, let's go through these. And you quickly realize that there is a lot of sound design happening. So let's listen to these. And oh, you just downloaded it. Okay. So let's check out. It's probably a little bit too loud. I'm sorry. I hope your speakers are still fine. So I just turn it down a little bit. So already when I heard these first few sounds, I was completely, off the socks because so if you guys want, I can still turn it down a little bit. So I just love these, there are so many nuances and so many actually layers happening in here. So exactly what I'm talking about, this very end. This was something like this. This is always what makes the sound stuff so great. So we have bass drops. Yeah, I'm sorry. So bass drops. I don't want to go into everybody because I also don't want to encourage somebody to just, turning off, like routing my entire stream into some audio software and just grabbing these sounds. I mean, the quality wouldn't be even, good enough to use them within your works, but I just don't want to, keep total silence and just play all these sounds for you to just not enable somebody ripping off the stuff. But of course, I'm not saying that you, just in general, somebody jumps into the stream and looks of new content and just suddenly starts routing like crazy. So this is actually a loop. We should probably play it from the beginning here, but there is also 120 BPM stuff in here. Sorry. So, and it loops also towards the end. So this is pretty cool, especially when we are doing these things on your own. What you hear sometimes is that you have like this low bass pulse or bass sound going on, but without, there are so many things happening right now. So you have that first sound, and the end is different than this one. It stops right away, but here you have this. And then you have the starting point of this. It's the same like the first one, but with that little intro. And then you have the fourth one being the same as the second, but then again, you have this little roll into the first one again. And this is what I talk about of variety. It's just little nuances, little tiny things. But if you do take care of these tiny things on all of your instruments, on everything you do, your music will become, your music will be improving. Okay, so let's hop on here. Let's listen to the third one here. Yeah, so it's really cool stuff. And of course, as I said before in another stream, I think the last stream, we explored sounds from hell. This is kind of like this thing where you say, oh, of course, I could do these sounds myself. And as I always say, yeah, but sometimes there is not time to do it. Sometimes you created sounds, but you use them extensively on another project and you're looking for something new. You can just use it as a foundation to create your own stuff, to layer stuff on top. And this is, I think, in my opinion, when it comes to individual writing or to create your custom sound, always trying to change the sounds a little bit. So you kind of like create your own personal sound. Some cool stuff here. Car whoosh. Yeah, so there's obviously lots of sound design going on, some pitching down and everything, but so it's not just a car whoosh, it's probably not even a real car, or maybe just a car mixed in between. I don't want to analyze these sounds exactly. I'm just saying that it's probably also the name is just like cyber. It was probably not a cyber being recorded, whatever that is, Haha, but let's check it out. Some cool stuff here. Oh, let's play this from the beginning. And to be honest, I just always see the price of the content. I'm not seeing it as like $99. This is like I could. Assuming if you just spend like $10 per day to eat, I could eat 9 days from this. No, I don't spend blah, seeing this from this kind of point of view. So don't get me wrong. I am mostly seeing that stuff from a professional point of view by saying somebody spent an X amount of hours to create something. And if I would do the same, I would have to spend more in terms of time, more than $99. Because this was obviously not done in a day and probably not in a week. So if you just work for a week and you have currently a job going on and you have, you make money with your music or you're a full-time professional, whatever the case is, or, I have a half, how do you say, like a day job for the half of the day, and then you move on to recording, to composing. This is always stuff that it's kind of like a no-brainer for me. You pick that stuff up for $99 and then, and I don't want to compare the library itself, the expertise or something to like a cleaning service for your room, but just to see the comparison between that. If I pay $80 for a cleaning service to come here and spending 2 hours each week to clean my apartment, I save 8 hours. Yes, 8 hours. So I could probably create something that is worth more than $80, So you know what I'm trying to say. So dark atmosphere. I mean, that's some really cool stuff. Depends. Probably this library will also be used for sound designing, because I have seen a sound in here that was instant freezing. Something, we will get to that probably later. Here, let me just play that for you. So this would be some sound you would hear in a Hollywood movie whenever something happens when it comes to you know, when something is being transformed to ice, or there is some, you know, spell happening, or in the last episode of Mandalorian, if I hope I'm not spoiling any, I don't try to spoil anything, but on that planet with all the ice and all these creatures, this would be a sound effect that would clearly, you know, fit in that area. I just have to I just have to say, hey Ian, just have to honestly say that I have to kind of like, how do you say, revert my opinion about Mandalorian. Because we forced ourselves to watch the final episode of the first season and recently started the second season. And I just have to say that I started loving it, or at least liking it. There were some things I'm asking myself, really? I mean, there are so many mistakes happening in that series, but then again, there is so much stuff happening in other series too, and of course there are worse series, but maybe I was just disappointed with the first season, but I already enjoyed really like the second season, so I have to truly come up and say I really like The Mandalorian. So, thanks, Tyler. It probably interests no one, but I just felt like reverting my opinion, because on the last stream or on the previous one I said, you know, I don't like Mandalorian. It's kind of like, I don't know what is going on there. It feels like theater without the people sitting in the back and just, you know, not like a series, or it feels like a World of Warcraft quest. You know, go A, pick up item 1 and go to B and deliver 1, and then get item 2 and deliver it to D, and so it's like basically the entire episode, entire season was like this. So, okay, now I'm serious, but let me just play another sound here. Let's take a listen to Deep Lush Ambience. And don't forget to drink, right? Yeah, so this is pretty suitable stuff, and I find it also great that not everything has been wrapped up. You know, there are of course pros and cons if you have WAV files only available, but also if you have like Sounds from Hell, which is not kind of like, I mean, this is also a sound design library. I don't want to compare these two, but you know, one is a sound effects library that has been wrapped up in a contact instrument, and this is a library that is just available as WAV files. And I find it really refreshing once in a while to just load in WAV files and be able to directly mangle the WAV files rather than just making use of what is available inside Contact. Because, I mean, just to quickly, you know, we do that later probably, but if I just load in a sound into Studio One, I can instantly create crossfades, I can cut the sounds together, I can just, you know, fade in or fade out a sound, I can copy it and, you know, create like a longer loop out of this. You can't do this in Contact. You just have to, you have to rely what is on there. There is no instrument, no Contact instrument or any other sampler I can, you know, recall right now instantly where you can, for example, cut a sound atmosphere in the middle and just get rid of the, you know, if it's like 5 seconds long, getting rid of the 2 seconds that are in the middle and do a crossfade. So there is something very cool about, you know, the flexibility of having the WAV files only available, because it changes your workflow. It's almost a little bit like limiting yourself to just work with one library, one orchestra library, Modus, for example, or all these concept libraries. You know, Abbey Road, Studio One, whatever. You know, it's not really a concept library, but it has the concept of delivering you the atmosphere of the Studio One sound of Abbey Road 1. Also, or for example, Pandora, Symphonia 4, it's definitely a concept library which is focused towards science fiction sound. It also has this category of like, you know, giving you all these swells and crescendos that are timed to whatever beats you want in the tempo. But or Luminous, is it called Luminous? Lumina? Symphonia 3, which is probably focused towards fantasy and cartoon. So anyway, I'm lying too much again. Deep Subhit. So we also have Subhit 2. These are always great to have. You know, always realize that you can use these sounds within, you know, very soft in the background to just start a sequence when you start writing, for example, a track, and then you start, for example, whatever, just as an example, string staccato passage, and you just have this. You have this as a little soft opener to with that passage, just once, you know, every 8 bars or something. It just adds some atmosphere. So I love that we still have it's kind of like Brahms, but it's not the typical Brahms sound of just going eh. We probably have some in here too. I should put a Brahms onto my onto this thing here. But all I have is in terms of brass, this is all I have currently right here. Yeah, and this. Yeah, great joke. So these sound effects are not involved into. These are parts of my Rodecaster here, but I can't just, you know, go away from using this. These buttons. Okay, electrical laser hit. So there's obviously some charging involved. It's like a space cannon or something. So, what is this? Electro sludge EMF glitches. This sounds very interesting. That's some random stuff. It's kind of a mixture where you can use this stuff for doing sound designs, sound design for video game cutscenes, assuming you're working on this. So I would always try to think a little bit outside the box and not always, I'm a composer, music instruments is what I need. But also, if you have the chance from a company, you know, asking if you could do like, you know, if you could support with the sound effects. I remember a job doing this. Maybe I could play this. I think, let me just play this. Let me just find this, because I did music. I shouldn't get into trouble for showing this. Let me find out if I still find this. I have to excuse because it's really kind of like solid work, but it was a long time ago that I was working for this game. I just have to find out if there is still some videos around this, because this is an example of where I did both. I worked on the music, the in-game music, and I also worked on the sound effects. Let me just, you know, try to come up with something. Okay, it's kind of like a weird format, but I mean, if you get the chance to do something like this, it looks kind of weird. Maybe there is some other, let me just play this for you, so I shouldn't get into trouble for this.
Never has such devastation been wreaked upon Tundran soil.
Kaiser Vlad shall be brought to account for this.
And so, the Alliance of Nations is reformed.
That was like the perfect example of lots of sound design. Let me just try to find something else here.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
So I always got the in-game sounds, the voiceovers.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Hey, Betty. Hopper balls. Looks like we're in for some turbulence. Hang on!
And so on. I just want to bore you with a full thing, but just giving you an example, a direct example of that stuff like this, that this library or a library like this is always valuable, just in case if you're working for a game. And it could easily happen that they say, hey, you know, our budget is kind of like, we can't probably pay additionally for the sound effects stuff, but we are not able, for example, to hire an entire new position as a sound effects guy. Could you do this? And this is what basically happened back then when I did the soundtrack for Battalion Wars 2. And they asked me, sorry, I didn't do the in-game music. I'm sorry, I just did the cutscenes music. But this was like, I don't know, like 20 cutscenes or something. I'm not really sure. I have to check. But it was a lot of cutscenes, and they asked me, can you do the music, but can you also do the sound design? And I simply said yes. And that's why I got that position too. And it means additional money, so it's always good. Alex Wave 69, that's a good question. No, I don't. I mean, to be honest, I know how these things work. I know that I can talk to an audio director about how to approach something, if we could layer something, if you could use something like an extension of a WAV file that goes over from this point to this. Let's say there is like an outro happening, and you also composed like an intro, and you also have a loop going, so that you can technically... Arika Riser, nice to see you, and thank you so much for your resubscription. 9 months, you're crazy, man. Thank you so much. So, trying to say that, yes, so you decide on doing like an intro. It's like an intro of a track. So you have like the beginning of the tracks, like the preparation. Then you have a full loop of, let's say, like 1.5 or 2 minutes. And then you have an outro. So I know how to work with WWise or Fmod, or what I have to deliver for the system itself. Do I have experience with the software itself? No, because I've never needed it, to be honest. And I think it's not just, if you have to use Fmod, or if you have to do WWise, or how you pronounce it, I think there is always a little bit being more involved into the programming of the game itself. So this means you're working closer with the team itself, because if you're just getting hired as a music composer, you usually don't have to deal with this. Let's say like 90%. But of course it happens that I have been asked once if I can work with it, and I said, if I get the gig, of course, I mean, it's not rocket science. It's like a system that plays back your files, and of course you have to be aware of a few things. It takes, you have to be aware that you have to learn, that there is a learning phase involved, but it's not rocket science. It's nothing that you have to study for like 3 years to be good at using it. So technically, if the price is right, if I have to take care over the entire music management of a game or something, of course, I wouldn't say, no, I'm not getting into this. But to be honest, I've never used it so far, and I never needed it so far. So let's check out some more EMF glitches. Oh, sorry. Oh, this looks funny. This is also a funny thing when you see composers, and I mean, of course, when it's like music, and they are sometimes asking, "Oh, what happened here?" But I mean, as long as you don't hear anything, I mean, it's not like that. There's like a town exploding on this planet somewhere in Russia or China or whatever. When you play a file like this, it's just a weird looking. But I don't hear anything that this is like damaging your ears or I mean, hope your guys still all right, you know, so that nothing happened. So I see like more people chiming into the room, so it seems like not. Let's check out this one here. Yeah, that's some cool stuff. So I don't want to go through all of these, but yeah, sound designing all this stuff definitely isn't done within like a few minutes. Okay, so I think I don't want to go through all of these glitches here. Epic explosion impact. So I already turned down the volume. Sounds pretty mighty. Explosion boom. So I'm putting this stuff behind epic drums or like a rhythm, you know, just playing like an epic drum rhythm, and then towards the beginning or at the beginning you put these things in the back. Definitely adds some flavor. Okay, so we have filtered horn stringer. I also like that they are not really like Brahms-like, but gun reloads. That's some mighty gun reloads. It's probably some kind of a Doom weapon or anything, you know, like the BFG. So yeah, we got like several hits here. Let's check out like number 3 here. Yeah, I mean, you just see that right now. So we just, of course, there was some talking involved and watching like a YouTube video, but we just discovered like 30 sounds, and we already live for almost like an hour. So that shows how much content is in. Why do I always say contest? Instant freeze, we already heard it. Let's check out some heavy resonance. So pretty cool stuff. Low hits. Low metal impact. I always like that there is something involved in the library that is not always direct and brutal and just straight into your face, but a little bit more in an ambient style. Or distant. With a little bit of distance involved. That's what I want to say. Okay, so let's head over to the noise and glitch patterns. This is probably some, random sound process stuff. It's definitely some cool stuff. I don't want to play them all, but cool. Ping. Oh. Yes. So these are one of these sounds. Especially the first one is one of these must-have sounds. And I don't want to, like sounding like a salesman or anything when I say must-have sounds, but these are one of these sounds that define an entire trailer track right from the beginning, because somebody hears, for example, a sound like this and instantly knows that it was like a specific trailer about whatever, a science fiction, horror movie, whatever, action movie. It's the same a little bit like that pattern from We Are Gods that I'm using very often as an example. When you hear that this beginning synth, and it was like, it's mirroring down. You instantly know this is the track. Eventually you know that it's Audio Machine, but this is the track that has been used for Black Widow trailer. It would have been funny if I forgot about the trailer title right now. What was the trailer again? No. But you instantly recognize that sound. And this is also, if we just hop into the trailer direction a little bit, what also makes it what makes a track valuable, that there is some recognizable pattern in there, besides, just taking care of your orchestration or your sound design. Or let's just say the pure orchestration or the arrangement itself. It's definitely some of these, how I call them, like signal sounds. Sorry. Let's play a few more of these. And hop over to the power impact. And that is some mighty power impact. Okay, let's check out reverse sounds. Always good to have. These things are always good if you're into trailer music or licensed music. These things are always these things are always golden when it comes to creating that final part, that final epic part towards the end of a trailer, and you're just looking for that sound that is coming into the, and then the track goes off again. Of course we have some risers, but these are very cool. Yeah. So what I instantly like about these risers is that you don't have just the riser itself, what I was talking about to get into the next part, of the track, but you get the entire transition from the previous part to the next one. So you just put that in the middle, and you can use this as a foundation. So you have some. Let me check there. So we got like natural risers. Let's play this one. Okay, so we got these with like the how do you say, like the transition entirely with the transition from the intro, or from the let's say the like the full transition in between, the gap between two parts. So this is let's play this again. Yeah, and you can just, put this as an entire transition in between two parts to just fill that gap, or use that as a foundation. And we also got the traditional riser. And it's pretty good, actually, because the riser itself is just stuff, again, that is very high frequent. There is not a lot of rumbling going on, and a lot of, mid-sourced frequencies. What do you say, like mid-frequencies? Not mid-sourced, mid-frequencies, but more high frequencies, because this is something that will stick through when you are at the final stage of your track. To be honest, when you have like a busy track already, maybe choirs, the full-blown orchestra, you have percussions going on, the only thing that will stick through is like high-frequency stuff. So you could even EQ this further and just use the really high frequency, starting from like 4 or 5K, to just have some sizzle coming up on top, because this is what will stick through. Of course, it always depends on the density of your track. Very cool, very helpful stuff here. Oh, we also got strings sting. Sub bass. It's some really cool stuff here. Lots of sound design happening. So this is definitely not something that is just, basic sounds. It's really like advanced sound design. So we have Brahms, of course. But I like that they still don't sound... Even these, they don't sound like the traditional Brahms everybody's annoyed of. I mean, besides that, to be honest, all the people are being annoyed by the Brahms. I don't care. If you just release an album and there are some Brahms involved, and your music has been used on a trailer, has been licensed for a trailer or a TV show or anything, and you get your money, and the client is happy, you know, the people visiting the movie because of the trailer, and you know, you check your bank account and you are happy too. Who cares about people just being annoyed? I know they have been overused. I don't want to deny this, that they have been overused, but it's just funny that it all started, that people got annoyed that the Brahms has been overused. Nobody complained about the 50 years of horn clusters big hits before. I'm sorry, I just have to say it like it is, but... It will change in like 5 years anyway, if it didn't change already. So we got some loop stuff going on here, synth pulse pattern. Yeah, this is baby. This is really cool, and I know, you know, I just released something. I don't want to compare myself to this, but that this is sound design, and also I think Daniel James talked about this when he just tried to, you know, not I don't want to say recreate Doom sounds, but in a sense, it kind of like showed how he did it. And I remember when I'm doing like that sound design stuff for my sick beats, there is a lot of compression and a lot of release trigger involved when doing these things, and this is a lot of trial and error thing. That you compress stuff, that you use it with some kind of a release set, and then you additionally distort the release. So you got stuff like, you know, there's all kinds of like funny stuff happening in between these breaks here. You know, this is not just continuing a pattern or something. This stuff happens actually when the sound stops playing, and let's say what has been triggered by the algorithm, or if you used, I'm not really sure what they used on Cinematic World hardware wise, but there's something happening inside the circuits, and they spit out all these audible information. And if you just, you know, use a compressor by just lift them up when there is nothing else playing, you receive these little fragments of sound in the background. So let's check this other one here. And this is also what Mick Gordon did for Doom. I mean, he did like a documentary about this, what he did, or at least like a little tutorial video. I think he did like a live presentation on some games convention. I don't exactly recall what it was, but he was talking about the setup, what he used, that he put like one signal, split it up into 3 different distortion and compressor setups, and then put them back together again, because each of these plugins or analog, you know, hardware devices behaves different. And then when you just let this stuff happen, then you create like some really individual material. Yeah, definitely good stuff for Cyberpunk. You can hear some similar sounds for this. You can hear some similar sounds in the soundtrack that has been probably created like this. And also, I kind of like that guitar is coming back. This is what really awesome to see, like Tenet, and now you have Cyberpunk. It's probably doubled a lot or triggered, or sometimes it's even synth, but I think I heard some electric guitars in there too. So you have transition hits. Okay, let's check a few more here. Let's go through some wishes. So maybe somebody of you already downloaded, you know, that free package. So you could let me know what sounds are available. Actually, I could do it myself and open the folder, but you know, I'm just don't want to distract too much from doing other stuff than checking out the sounds in here. So let's check out another whoosh file here. So with these things, you can always spice up your track, because whenever you have a new part being introduced, like a new 8 or 16 bar pattern, you can use this stuff. And I really shouldn't, take that much time to only talk about this library, because we just wanted to use it a little bit by creating some kind of, kind of like a Jingle Bells epic version, because Christmas is getting close. I'm not sure how much I will be able to start in that stream, but I also don't want to skip the last of the... Holy shit. Oh, so it's just like, 40, 50 sounds still. So we just got covered 50% something. So let's check out some whoosh hits here. Actually, I should be fair and just play the release. Okay, wobbly, so we got probably some different sounding. Let's check out some wobbly whoosh. Really, really cool. So, RTZV signature. That's kind of cool. Bell impacts. I've never heard this before. Cinematic blade slash. Yeah, that definitely sounds like some kind of a nano saber or something. Cinematic percussion hit. It's really cool because it doesn't get in the way of actual, let's say, like a library like Damage 2 or something. This is something you can place beneath the actual, your actual percussion arrangement. To create that additional, kind of like custom sound in the background. So it's kind of like tricking your ear by introducing something else that doesn't have to do with the percussions. And then people listen to it and say, yeah, but I got Damage 2 too. I also got Damage 2, but it sounds different. What did you do? And then you're analyzing that stuff. And so you're kind of like creating your custom stuff. It kind of like, it kind of reminds me of that dubstep-ish stuff. Dubstep-ish stuff. But it doesn't sound actually like dubstep. So that somebody's like, oh, not again. But it sounds like cinematic dubstep. Okay, clock pulses. These are very important, I think. So very important because you can create lots of tension with that stuff. Creaturizer. I can see this being used a lot wherever, games, movies. And also what I like about these passages is that the melody is not that significant that somebody could come along and say, you know, you're just using some kind of another melody. You know, you didn't write your melody. You suck as a composer because you used something pre-made. There is not a significance in the melody. It sounds like you are not able to detect a melody into this, which is a good thing because you can use it as some kind of a sound effect to something. And you know, I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter anyway because trailers and all that music is being made for non-composers. It's for the consumers, for how do you say, like the consuming people, like that buy the movies or buy the video games. Nobody cares if there's some composer saying, but you used Omnisphere on this. Who cares? I mean, the only thing you want to make sure that you get new sounds and keep your libraries, your palette fresh and up to date is that you kind of like to involve fresh sounds once in a while. You don't want to stick around with the old Storm Drum 1 drum loops forever, because at some point it becomes a little bit too familiar that even a person that is not involved with music will sooner or later detect that something is there that has been used on something else. As I said, but in generally it doesn't matter if somebody is good by using Storm Drum 1 sounds, and I think a lot of people still do. Everything is cool, but you once in a while want to be fresh and up to date. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting question. What if other famous composer uses the same loop too, and then people would be saying you stole from each other? I mean, this is when I can see that point, but I mean that this is a little bit, if you are, let's say, if you are somebody like Junkie XL or Hans Zimmer, or they do a lot of sound design, they have the budget to create their own custom personal sounds. And I think there is a little bit of pressure put on people like this because they don't want to use these sounds, because they don't want to end up saying like, oh, that guy made like $1 million with the music for whatever movie, and all he did use was a sound from a $99 library. So I could totally imagine, Tom Holkenborg as somebody saying, yeah, but if it sounds good, if it fits, if it completely sounds like the one sound that I wanted to use, I use it. But of course, there's always a little bit of that pressure to these people, that they want to create their own stuff to sound original because, right, they have a little bit of more time. I mean, we all probably remember that interview with Hans Zimmer where he said, I just said like Hans Zimmer. I mean Hans Zimmer. So he talked about that his progress or his process of creating a melody, that he sometimes sits for like 4 weeks and tries to come up with a melody, not a highly sophisticated melody, but a simple melody that is that individual that you just instantly recognize or attach this melody to a movie. And if he has like what I'm trying to say, if he has like 4 weeks to just think about the melody and then have enough time about doing all the sound design and all the, the recording and orchestration. And I know he has a team, blah, blah, blah. He has people helping him. But, I mean, somebody has to just, do that stuff first and come up with this. So, but they have the time to come up with all that sound design or have to think about what they want. Even if they have people working for him, he has to sit there and select and be responsible for that, what goes into the movie and what not. So, I'm drifting off on that question, but I hope it makes sense. So let's check out Cybergun Reload. Okay, cyber vehicle pass by. Yeah, so let's quickly, because I just feel like starting to get a little bit into music creation. So let's check out a few of these sounds here. So generally you already know that it's high quality, that there is not some kind of like a cheap try, you know, just to, you know, make $99. There's a lot of work involved. You can clearly hear that. Lots of sound design, lots of layers. I actually don't want to know how long they needed to create this library. This could be like a great foundation for like an epic rap song or something. Just put a beat on top, just put it like a really nasty rapper on top, probably like distorting his vocals or anything. It would be really cool. Yeah, always great stuff to have when you just go, you know, for an epic sounding track towards the end. You need something that speeds up. Assuming your track is a little bit more focused towards atmosphere, and then you just have some evolving pulls going on. Let's just check out the second one here. Yeah, really cool. So let's check out a few more. Just want to hop through the few of these. Let's check out Gearshift. Let's check out some gore punches. Yeah, these are really gory. It's some limbs missing after that. Granular glass atmosphere. Hey Blanco, yeah, definitely. Finish him. Hey Tony Montana. Say hello to my little friend. Yeah, I really love that stuff. Helicopter whoosh. So let's hop through these. Let's just play one sound for each of these categories. Now we have to listen to two here. Low bass, low bass Brahms. Magic weapon input. So let's hop through these a little bit faster here. Magic whoosh. And mech suit build-up. That should be awesome. definitely. We have to listen to another one here. I mean, if you have ever sound designed something like this, you know that there is a lot of work involved. I also remember the StarCraft 2 trailer back then. What was that final sentence he's saying? Like with a cigar? It's like, I don't know, but you see like 1 minute and how all these crews are turning, you know, his mech suit is built together, you know, and all these sounds just like, you know, constructing and putting on that helmet, and then something like says like it's time to rock or something. But this is like, I don't know how long the sound designers needed to put together that entire track. he probably, yeah, Bumblebee is ready. Let's listen to the first one here. And I mean, this is even stuff that you can't do, probably. I'm not knowing 100%, but this is probably stuff you can't do as a Foley artist. You can't, you know, put the microphone through some kind of a distortion or some kind of a clipping or a chopping instrument or a plugin and then just doing all your stuff. So this takes a lot of time. So especially, yes, when it comes to Transformers or something, I don't really want to know how long these guys needed for all the sound design to put together all of these, you know, all of the or just like, you know, doing sound design for the transformation processes. Okay, noise glitch sequence. It sounds pretty cool, so let's check out the sequence 3 here. Very cool. So percussive screech riser. Let's check the short one here. And radio imaging noise stinger. Spaceship pass by. Hey Doodle Lord. How are you doing? So we have string tension hits. It's for a bit of a bigger strings, you know, nothing orchestral like strings. Oh yes, actually this is... Yeah, if there would be like a double bass / cello library that would involve these heavy, you know, bowings, I would instantly get it. Actually, it doesn't have to be loops like this, but Boss's Love, if you can hear this, you would have your first customer if you come up with a library that involves these heavy bow scratches. Even if it would be just available as hard sustains or round robins and then all these notes in between. Yeah, I would be the first one to buy this. So stutterizers. Very cool stuff. Check the middle one. And we just have another one here. Yeah. Let's listen to the first one. That's pretty cool. This is also a thing what I miss many times when I listen to pieces. They are most of the time only 4/4 and always kind of like binary. I mean, even if they 3/4, but you hear not really that lot of tracks where the tempo or the pulse is going into the, how do you say, like ternary action, that you have lots of triplets going on. I kind of like miss that, especially like switching in between that. And I can see like I'm not really sure, but I'm just guessing that it's always when you compose music that you can easily switch the pattern in between 8, 16, 32nd, fourth, half notes, whatever patterns. But it's kind of like, at least I am like this, that I think, oh, I just have to switch to triplets again. And then you can't. And if you don't have a shortcut for like toggling between binary and ternary feeling, then you just don't use it. And this is most of the time, I think, why there is so much music out there that is simply 4/4 and simply always like, having like 8 or 16th notes involved. But I'm just guessing here. So also we have to say that there is also another source folder. So we just probably, if I just check these sounds, the last sounds stutterizer 1, 2, and we go to the folder, or it's a completely different folder. So let's just quickly. Okay. Okay, so I'm kind of like impressed because I can probably instantly, or you'll probably instantly notice that these are the original recordings they did to create all these other effects from. And they giving you the entire. That's really awesome. So you get like the entire source. I mean, probably don't know if it's like the entire source folder, but I could imagine that it is the entire recordings they had to create these other sounds from. So once you sit down taking all of these sounds and you started coming close to one of these designed sounds, you know probably how many hours you spent to do stuff like this. Wow, that's really awesome. What I'm really curious about is, let's check out if there are some of the creature sounds available. There's some. Maybe they did this. That's where all the splatter and gore stuff comes from. So actually, I could even imagine that they created the creature sounds from the sounds here, but I don't want to share, some wrong information. So hope you got a good impression on that library. It's let me just minimize bring the mixer over here. So I hope you got a good impression on that. And let me just share that once again here. So you can get the library from here. I will just post the link in here, and I also want to post the link. I also want to post the link again that Rostislav sent me, where you can get 20 of the sounds of that library for free, just in case, of course, if you subscribe to their newsletter, which I just find fair in return for getting some free stuff. I enjoyed this stream a lot. I hope you guys did too. And yeah, I will just announce when I will be back online next week. Something probably around the afternoon hours, not that late in the evening. It's probably bit better to stream like this. Also, I think I have a little bit more energy to start at something like the afternoon hours. Okay, so thanks for being here. And if you got any questions regarding Cinematic World, can get back to Rostislav and he will probably answer all of these questions to you. And okay, so thanks for being here and see you soon. Bye and take care, guys.